Hello, big, huge, awesome world outside of the Oberlin bubble. This is our second virtual student panel for the fall 2014 semester time. We have five fantastic international students joining us today to talk about their experience about learning about Oberlin, applying to Oberlin, and what their experience is like at Oberlin right now. I am going to mute myself. If you have any questions for our fabulous panelists, feel free to comment them in the Oberlin blogs, and we will feed them to our panelists. Excellent. I'm going to mute myself, and we're going to start with an introduction from Josh.
Cool. I'm Josh. Graduating in 2018, I think. I'm from South Africa. I live in Southall. And my current major, I'm a double degree student, so I'm a composition major in the conservatory and an undeclared, but hopefully a creative writing major in the college. Who's next?
I bet Simba's next.
I think Mariko, you're the next.
Is it me?
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna leap in because I'm leaping in. Sorry, that was probably not the best note to jump in on. But hi, I'm Mariko. I am a fourth year German and comparative literature major in the college. I come from Japan, and yeah, I live in German house. So you are seeing the wall of my dorm. And if you have any questions about housing, which was one of the really big questions that I had when I was coming here, feel free to ask me. Tanisa?
Okay, my name is Tanisa. Well, in Thai, I'm from Thailand, and in Thai, my name is pronounced Tanisa, but because I'm here, I let people call me Tanisa, and it's not too hard for them to pronounce, I guess. I'm a sophomore this year, and I'm a piano major in the conservatory. I'm living in Britain this semester. Last semester, my freshman year, I lived in East. If you have questions about these two dorms, you can ask me. And yeah, I'll pass it on to Tim.
Am I the next?
Sure.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Sue, and I'm a third year art history major. And I also have a Middle Eastern and North African Studies minor. I live in a village house right now, so this is my room, single, and I have like three other roommates, housemates technically. And I live on Goldsmith, which is right by Union, by the soccer field, the gym. It's pretty convenient. And then because I'm an art history major, and I'm from China, by the way, Beijing, China. So I don't know if like any of my Chinese fellow would be able to see this since YouTube is not available in China, but I think it's still really fun to talk with along with my other panelists. So I'm excited.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes.
I think it's my turn.
Saving the best for last.
Hi everyone. My name is Simba. I grew up in Harare in Zimbabwe. I'm a senior. I'm majoring in political science, and I'm also taking a concentration in international studies. I live off campus, which is sort of, I live in a house, so I have a landlord and I pay rent every month. and it's off campus, but it's actually really, really, really close to everything. So I live on Union Street, and it's right by the gym and everything that's good. And also, yeah, in a dining hall. And I live in Mayon's old house. Yeah, it's a really, really great house. It's big. There's a fireplace. It's great. I have 3 roommates. Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, I would like to start off with the first question. So, I came to Oberlin basically because of the conservatory they have. We have a great music program with all the con students who practice a lot, but also we have fun hanging out. But I didn't know at all that Oberlin was one of the most liberal arts colleges in the States. People are so creative, epic, they do whatever they do, and no one judges. You're just like great the way you are. Um, and also, I had no idea that Oberlin was in the middle of nowhere in Ohio. Um, Transportation can be tricky, but also we do a lot of um, shared transportations where students can find other students who they might not know, but they usually share transportations through the Oberlin Classifieds, which is on Gmail, Google, or something. You can always find people to travel around with you, and there's the shopping trip to Walmart every weekend. Um, and we also have the airport shuttle, and that's sufficient because in Oberlin you have so many things to do. You don't really have to go out. If you need to go out, there's no problem because there's always people to go with you. So yeah, that's what I didn't know before, but yeah, now I know and I love it the way it is now.
For my part, I knew that Oberlin was probably going to be in the middle of Ohio. I expected more cornfields, but they were mostly soy. I guess that was a really surprising thing for me. But that aside, really, I want to follow up with what Denise said about having a lot to do on campus, and I'm finding that not just so you could say not just academics but also extracurriculars, or you could say not just extracurriculars but also academics. You know, it's a really, really good place if you want to concentrate and study. There are very few distractions, but there are many, many things to do outside of just being with your books in the library all day. And that very difficult balance to strike is actually easier to find here, I think, than in a more urban setting. At least it was for a learner like me, because it really leaves you with enough space and enough time to really focus on what you want to focus on academically. And then the size of the campus, which is about 3,000 people all over, not just college students, but also conservatory students and then double degree students as well, makes it easy for you to not be overwhelmed by the number of people, but to know a sufficient number of people who are interested in a variety of different things. Things that you yourself may not be interested in, but then if your good friend wants to go contra dancing tonight and you've never contra danced, it's a kind of social dance. It's so much fun. But that was me in freshman year. I had never done any social dance before. But then my roommate said, I'm going contra dancing with my friends, and they took me. It was so much fun, but it would never have occurred to me to go. And it was also, if I had been on my own, and it was also very much contained within a good amount of time, and I could leave whenever I wanted to. Could go back to studying if I wanted to, and and overall, I've found it a very, very intellectually stimulating place. which stimulating and cornfields may not seem to fit together, but it actually is. So things that surprised me about Oberlin.
Yeah, following on from that, I think one of the things that surprised me most was not having visited campus before, which I guess is the same for a lot of international students.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect it to be so beautiful all year round. So like the winter's very cold, but there's just like this sheet of snow covering all the grass that's there in the fall and the spring. And I was lucky enough to stay here for the summer this past year too, and so that was absolutely gorgeous. And right now all the trees are starting to turn orange and red, and that's really exciting. So I wasn't expecting to be like constantly amazed by my very flat surroundings.
I can go next. So I think one thing that I kind of expected, but not to the extent of what it actually like how amazing it is art rental. So I did art rental when I was a freshman, and I think it was spring semester, and I basically like camped out for the whole night, and then I was fortunate enough to be one of the first 10 people to got into the museum, and then I got a Picasso, and my friend got a Matisse. So that was like our best like accomplishment the whole year, and like I think like as an art history major, I just like cherish all the like opportunities that, especially art rental. I mean, like this doesn't exist anywhere else other than Oberlin. I think probably like some small liberal arts colleges are thinking about having art rental programs, but like this like program at Oberlin has been going on for I don't know decades, and it hasn't failed. I mean, people all like love the work that they got, and so that's another just one of the surprises that I got. So that this year I also did art rental with my housemates, and I got a Chagall. It's a small etching, but I still love it. And my housemate got a Jean Arp and a Lincolnstein, and another wood block print, which is also great. Yeah, so I guess another thing that surprised me was how tight the Oberlin alumni network is. I think because before I came here, I didn't know, because it's a really small school, and I would think, people kind of just all spread out, and like there are just not many of them, like comparing to other big schools in the world. But I was fortunate enough to find this because I was over in New York during the summer doing an internship, and then I was looking for like a person to host me for a couple of weeks to help me like to transit from my permanent residence. So there was this lady who actually only spent 1 year at Oberlin. I think she dropped off after like her freshman year, but she really really enjoys like talking to OBs, and also she hosted me over the summer for like 2 weeks, and it was very like a great experience for me to get to know her, and then also it just saved my life because otherwise I would be like I don't know really frustrated by like not having a place to stay during that period of time. So yeah, those are the two things that surprised me, but also I'm enjoying it, like taking advantages from it. So great.
Yeah, I think one of the things that surprised me, I know this shouldn't be a surprise, but it was shocking to me, winter. When winter comes, because when you actually get to Oberlin in the fall of your freshman year, everything is so beautiful. It's really warm. It's just like at home, So I was like, oh, this is not too bad. I mean, winter, what are they talking about? And then all of a sudden, in the end of October, you've just had your exams, and then all of a sudden, the first snow actually is really when I was on my my freshman year, my freshman roommate actually was the first person to realize that it was snowing outside, and then he was so excited for me. He was like, Simba, oh my God, you have to go outside and see the snow. And then there were these really tiny flakes. They just looked like very innocent, snowflakes. I was like, oh, snow is great. It's not that bad. It's not cold at all. It's just pretty and good. And then it really gets cold, and then you're like, whoa, what happened? And then I wasn't really prepared, so I had to go and buy winter coats and all of that stuff. So I mean, it wasn't a surprise, but it was kind of a, I don't know, culture shock. So it was just I knew it was coming, but I wasn't ready for it. So that's one thing that really surprised me. And then I got used to winter, and then I was like, okay, this is okay.
Simba.
Yeah.
Simba, were you here for winter last year?
For part of it, because I got to go to another place where there was better weather. Yeah.
Like for me, the experience was that my first and second years, the winters were like unusually mild, and I kept waiting for like a gigantic snowfall to come and everything, but it never did. So I'm a little excited for winter this year.
They told me it was mild, but then I was like, what? Is this what you call mild? It was shocking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but like in terms of getting coats and stuff and transitioning, I guess, to a new climate, a new environment, to Oberlin College itself, like Simba, do you have any comments on like what people helped you or what structures there are here on campus? Have a couple of things to say, but I think you're on the right track for this. So.
Oh yeah, sure. In terms of transitioning and culture shock, one of the things that was really helpful to me was when I got here, I was a Bonner Scholar. So a Bonner Scholar is just a program for doing community service, and there are about 15 of you in the class. So when I got here, actually, I went through the orientation for Bonner Scholars, for the Bonner Scholars program. So I had an instant community. So I had 14 other people that were sort of instantly my friends. So I had that sort of structure. But then also just going forward, I joined a couple of groups. I joined an a cappella group. I joined African Students Association. Every international student is part of the International Students Association automatically. So I had a couple of structures to sort of help me get integrated into Oberlin life. So it kind of helped with the culture shock, and especially people from ASA, African Students Association. They were really helpful, and sort of kind of like letting me know like where I can get a haircut, or where I can buy winter boots and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, I'm one of the only few students from Thailand, so of course it was a big adjustment to me. I couldn't like totally rely on all the Thai people who are here, so that opened my way to live with all the American and other international students. The thing is that some people might be anxious about getting out of their international groups and become integrated into the American community because the culture, of course, is different. But you will be surprised how all the American students here are so eager to know about you. Sometimes it might be difficult to start off a conversation with them. The only thing you have to do is talk to them, and they would be eager to talk to you. But sometimes they don't know what you think of them. Sometimes international students hang out with themselves, and so American students were kind of nervous to talk to us because we are like an international group. But you have to make sure that you break that wall, and I'm sure it's gonna be great. I have so many wonderful American friends, and also international students are a great support, and they're a great community too. Yeah, and also people in Oberlin are so diverse that you can always find people who have the same interests or some similar interests you can talk about. You can always share different interests with other people. Yeah, they're always eager to learn about what you like.
Yeah, about getting adjusted as well, there are several things that are set up for you right at the beginning when you arrive. So every international student is assigned a peer mentor, and that program is really helpful because then you have a second or a third or fourth year who's sort of looking out for you and whom you can ask bureaucratic questions like where do you get a cell phone and how does that work, because it's different in the States to many other places. And then there's also the Office of International Students, and the International Student Organization, which every international student is a part of, hosts quite a few events right at the beginning of the year just to sort of get everyone acquainted with each other, which is really helpful. I was also in a freshman dorm in my first year, um, and so that was really helpful because suddenly you have a whole hall of people that are in the same boat as you, and they might not be coming from a different country, but they're all also leaving home, and they're all also adjusting to a new cultural environment and a new space. So having that around is really helpful.
I sort of want to jump in on that. I was also in a freshman dorm my first year, and just tying together what Tanisa was saying about interaction with domestic students and international students on campus, in addition to having a freshman community, that was really a big point of that was something that I was really nervous about before coming here because I wasn't sure if having a roommate was sort of a daunting prospect for me, and I ended up in a freshman dorm in what's called an open double, so it's one room, two beds, two desks, and there is no partition in the middle, so it's very much an open room with two people living in it, and it turned out to be a really, really wonderful experience. And it introduced me to, it was a very good segue into sort of the American college culture, even though that's really hard to say and it's really hard to generalize because each college campus is very different. And I feel like Oberlin has even in all these different college cultures, Oberlin has a very distinct one. But just in terms of learning to learn in a different country, in a different system, having that roommate there who had been going to public school in the United States for all her life and then coming here and sort of having a better understanding of how this whole college thing works in the United States, that was a wonderful resource to have, and not just as a resource, but also as as somebody that I could confide in, and as a really, really good friend. And then where I want to go with all of this is that yes, there are systems and there are organizations, and the dean of international students is wonderful. She really knows the logistics, but also talks to you and takes pays attention to you as a person, and that's really, really nice to have when you're so far from family. But on top of all that, what helped me the most in my transition were the physical and personal relationships that I made with my peers and with my professors, and also with people in the community, outside of the college campus, I mean. So, as Tanisa said before, there are always going to be people who are willing to know more about you and what you have lived and how that's different or similar to the lives that they have lived up until the point that they come here to Oberlin. And um, so take the word is not take advantage, but go up and take and consider those as opportunities to form people to people relationships and to understand people better because I think this is a life skill transitioning from place to place in life as well as geographical locations and it's this place is a really good um, so Oberlin is a really good place if you want to hone that skill. Sorry that became a little bit long, but Sue, I think you're the one who hasn't talked yet. Do you have something to add to this?
Sure. It was a very deep answer, and I agree with a lot of it. So, going along with the line of freshman year experience, I think, well, I lived in Cannes, which is the environment friendly dorm on campus, and it's also the newest dorm, I think. And I lived there when I was a freshman. Um, it was, I think, I really liked the the whole building, just because like it has probably one of the best facilities, and I also really enjoyed living with my roommate because I've never been like to a boarding school or just like being actually like immersing myself like into that like two people kind of interaction, like living together, doing everything together. Um, so we actually became really good friends, and she is actually from Oberlin. So she invited me over for Christmas, and so I got to meet her family and all the people who were close to her because they're all like townies. So because of her, I got to know a lot of people and like also just kind of got to know the like American culture. And then her mom also drove me to the airport, like helped me to store my winter clothes like a couple of times. So yeah, it was a really good relationship. And so I guess what like other things that helped me to undergo this transition would be I think like student organizations. I was involved in the Chinese Student Association when I was a freshman, and because there's a pretty, I guess, comparatively large Chinese international student community on campus, so there's like an instant kind of bound when we got here. But like actually in the Chinese Student Association, there aren't many Chinese international students who are represented in the group because like most of them are Chinese Americans or like they're more I guess active in terms of like non-curricular activities. So I was one of the only Chinese international students, but by joining the events and like helping out with preparing for food and like because we like serve Chinese food like for a lot of events and so cooking with other people and like helping them to organize the events I think really helped me to like got to know a lot of people who are in the community in like larger like the community in a larger sense and not just people who are from China, who were born in China, grew up in China, but like actually people who probably uh, were born in America, but really closely associated with the Chinese culture. So in that way, like kind of broadened my sense of this is the like actual like Chinese culture. This is the idea of like not just your nationality or your skin color or your past experience, but it's a kind of root that people are kind of associated with, but in a different way. So I think just coming from like a Chinese background, I think it really helped me to like got to know a lot of people. Also, I was tutoring Chinese for like 2 years. I'm still tutoring, but just for like individual people. So I think in that way, I got to know a lot of people who are interested in Chinese culture, not necessarily Chinese or Chinese Americans, but they are really passionate about Chinese language and also like the culture, the food, of course, but like everything in general. So I was really glad. I was also like really open to like share whatever I know to them. So in that way, I also got to know a lot of friends. Um, so I think Oberlin in general gives you like a lot of opportunities to kind of broaden your knowledge in different ways and like kind of change you probably like, well, I mean, for me, I think I had a lot of preconceptions before I came here. And I think they gradually changed and like when I went through this kind of transition, I think that one of the biggest part was probably just my mindset itself. Um, so yeah, I know who would like to answer the next question.
Just a heads up that since our panelists mostly have lived in a freshman dorm, but just so you know that it's not necessary for you to only make friends through freshman dorms. There are other options for you. For example, there are quite a few program housing such as Asia House, German House, French House, where you can just build a really warm community with the people who have the same interest as you. Um, for example, Asia House, quite a lot of students who lived in Asia House were majoring in East Asian studies, and some of them came from Asia, and also some of them just love to be exposed to the Asianized community. I personally lived in East my freshman year, which was just a traditional mixed dorm with all the upperclassmen, but it turned out to be great because I had a really nice community in my hall, a mixture of freshmen and sophomores. So yeah, just a heads up that anywhere you live you can always have a great community, and yeah, even like outside of your dorm, sometimes people just come over and yeah. Okay.
So should I keep going? I guess the next question would be my one unique Oberlin experience. I think, well, so far, okay, this is pretty unique. Okay, so when I was, I think, the second semester of my freshman year, I took Sexco, which is one of the, I guess, most popular excos on campus. So excos are, I think they're shortened for experimental college programs. So basically, all the teachers are students. So and they can, like write up a proposal and basically teach whatever they're good at
Let
to.
me jump in there. They're not all students.
Oh,
They can be from time to time faculty members, staff members, and also community members. But for the most part, you're right, Sue. They are usually taught by students. Okay, sorry.
that's a good jump in. Yeah, but so basically, I I guess one of the reasons why I chose Sexco was because like just coming from a pretty, I guess, relatively conservative background, I had like very little knowledge about like sex or like sex. I had like didn't have any like sex education in high school. I'm just like the idea like in general kind of like it. I mean, it really like it's like taboo. Like people never talk about it. So like I mean I'm in America. Why not? And like I think this is like I like at that time I thought it would be like a great like eye-opening experience. And it actually turned out be like a really eye-opening experience. But aside from that, I think also learned a lot from like the readings and a lot of I guess like social commentary. How do people like perceive, especially like gender and sexuality issues in America and in the world in general. So yeah, so sex code basically just teaches you like everything about sex or like gender and sexuality. So it it really helped me to, I guess, like also part of the transition, because I guess college is definitely a place where a lot of people would like to like explore, because I mean people all are from like different backgrounds, so like for people like me who are like probably more conservative, who like were probably raised up in like a more conservative family, but coming to here, be actually by yourself, like you have to make your best judgment about, um, your life or like sexual life in general. So I think like taking Sexco definitely like helped me to kind of like rationalize some of the thoughts that I have been like having like through interacting with people and also just like seeing what are other people doing and like I think taking it definitely it's like a really educational experience and helping me to understand what am I doing on campus right now and actually understand what is actually like going on in like a broader context.
Can I jump in again, Sue?
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry, I have so much to say. So cut me off when any of you, I mean it, cut me off if I start talking too much. But the flip side of that is that people are actually coming in from very, very different backgrounds and having very different perspectives on many things, not just um, so not just academics, but also political and moral views on life. And the great thing about this place is that it's okay if you don't think like the mainstream. If it's okay if you don't um, adhere to, um, or that's not the word. If you don't conform. Yes, there we go. If you don't conform to whatever the mainstream US culture is at that time, or what the mainstream Oberlin culture is, or what the mainstream culture back at home for you. It's it's all okay, but there is a lot of space for discussion, and people are, for the most part, very very good about being passionate but not emotional when they are talking about difficult topics. And you in the end you can walk away saying I understand the other side much better, but I'm not persuaded, and that's okay. Or you might walk in to a discussion and then come out thinking, oh, my own perspective has been changed a little bit, and I think that's a really really cool thing. It broadens your view on the world. It gives you more depth when you're thinking about it, and it makes thinking, the thought process, a lot more complicated. But I think that having that feeling of, okay, these topics are very difficult to navigate is a good thing because in many cases they are. Okay, that being said, excos are really cool. Um, I'm taking Korean exco right now because there is no Korean language course offered through the East Asian Studies Department as of this year. But from next year, there will be an actual faculty member teaching Korean.
really.
For now, I've heard
Oh,
it's
that's exciting.
um, for for now, and as has been for the past few years, Korean students have taught excos, So classes of 10, 15, at times maybe even 20 people when there's, I don't think it goes any larger than that, who are interested in learning elementary, so very basic Korean language. I'm taking EXO 1 right now. Um, it's, for me, a person who's very much interested in the intersection between culture and language. It was really cool because I had so many friends who represent Korea on this campus, and but I couldn't. I felt like I was always missing out on part of the experience because I didn't have the language, and I know that that's not going to complete my understanding of Korean culture, but I'm hoping that that would take me into a little bit further into the depths. That being said, it's just a really fun class to have, and it's academic, but it's also extracurricular at the same time, hence experimental college. And I really enjoy that we have this option to not just take academic classes, but also take classes in a different format. Um, Other things that have been really cool about my 4 years here is I got to study abroad last year, and an amazing number of people study abroad during their time at Oberlin, either during this academic semester or over like longer breaks, such as summer vacation or winter term. Um, Now, all that being said, I was gone for the whole year last year, so my third year of college was spent in Munich, Germany, and for me that was especially exciting because I hadn't really known that I would be studying German coming into Oberlin. And then in winter term, so January of my freshman year, I had a chance to take the elementary level German course as a language intensive. So 4 hours of German every single day of the week, and that was really, really intense. But it also gave me a good leg up on the language, and then I kept taking it. Around, I want to say, um, end of my first semester of my second year, I decided I might be wanting to go abroad. And then the department chair sat down with me and we talked it over. How is this going to fit into my remaining semesters at Oberlin, which would only be 2 at the time that I came back from Germany, and then like how I could finish my majors in time, so on and so forth. And we got everything figured out, and I was able to spend almost a year, so 10 months, living by myself in Munich, um, taking classes at the university in Munich, and working on both and better understanding of the literature. And it was truly, truly a wonderful experience for me. And just thinking of where I started as a freshman, and not just with the language, but also in my experience living on my own or living in a country away from my family, I probably wouldn't have been able to have such a good experience in Germany my third year had it not been for the support that I got from the people that I knew and my professors and my friends here at Oberlin. So that was my study away experience, and I recommend it to everyone. So don't think that studying abroad in the United States is the end of your studying abroad. There are so many ways that you can go abroad from here, and that's always a really, really exciting prospect. Um, but I was checking, so we have a chat set up and we're talking about the different things that we could talk about, and somebody mentioned co-ops. I don't know if you have heard, you who are listening have heard about the Oberlin Cooperative Association. Oops. missed a really important part. Student Cooperative Association. I've eaten there. Have any of the rest of you eaten in a co-op before?
I'm in TWC right now.
You're in TWC right now? That is the place of really good food.
Yeah.
What's TWC?
Yes.
Sorry, I know, but then sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's Third World Co-op, so it's located at the first floor of Baldwin Cottage.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's dedicated to support the people of color community, people with people are from low-income families, international students, first generation college students, so basically marginalized groups. But we have, I guess, because I guess some people are from like, you know, uh, families that make like ethnic food. So we like a lot of times our food is just crazy, like most of the time. And we have like great special meals. Like I think this week we have a special meal on the theme of noodles. And last week was on garlic, and so like everything's made out of garlic. It was great, but like yeah, like everything. We had like
So
garlic.
everything had garlic in it, but it wasn't like you made bread out of garlic.
Yeah, we had garlic ice cream. It's possible. It was great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, keep going. Do you want to talk about Pile?
Yeah, sure. Um, so Pile is the co-op that I eat in, and it's the largest of these student communities that cook for each other. So the simplest way to explain it, what a co-op is and how it functions, is that students get together and they cook for each other, and then they take turns cleaning up after each other. Yeah, and everything from the ordering of raw produce, so vegetables and flour and rice and so on and so forth, to making sure that everything stays sanitized and clean in the kitchen and that people don't get sick. All of that is run by students, and it's another way of getting to know a lot of people on campus and getting to know them well, because you're going to be sitting down at every single meal with them, and also cooking with them. Um, Cleaning up the kitchen sounds like a big task, but it's always a lot of fun with a lot of music and people dancing with mops, and I've always found it a really fun experience. But Pile does not have a theme of of being a space for marginalized communities that Third World Co-op has, but it does cater to the needs of people with dietary restrictions and people with food allergies. And that's another really cool thing about co-ops, because they cook for a smaller number of people. They pay extra close attention to issues of so veganism, vegetarianism. Are those isms? I don't know. So when people want to eat vegan or vegetarian, they would find really good cooking in the co-ops. And also issues of food justice is often brought up in co-ops, and we talk about that a lot. Again, discussions. It's a discussion space. So if you're interested in knowing where your food comes from, making sure that people who make the food are getting fair wages, if the politics of that interest you, or if you're just into a lot of cooking, and getting to know people, all of these things can be done in a co-op.
And there are about 8 co-ops on campus. Just
Are there 8 now? Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in quickly.
Sorry, Josh.
That's okay.
Talk too much.
Yeah, so I just wanted to answer like 4 questions in one. I think one of the most unique experiences of Oberlin for me, and I don't quite know how to say this and sound genuine, but how nice and helpful everyone is. I think, I mean, that's true of many communities, but I think Oberlin especially, there is always support when you need it, from professors being happy to meet with you outside of office hours for classes, um, to even to forming like real relationships. Last Thanksgiving, it was my first Thanksgiving, and I didn't quite know what that was. All my friends had gone home, of course, all my domestic friends, and one of the professors invited a whole lot of the African students that had stayed to his house for dinner, and
Yeah,
so
that was
that kind of
fun.
that kind of thing is like an integral part of the Oberlin process for me. I also just wanted to quickly talk about winter term, which is another kind of um, sort of extracurricular academic thing, um, like excos and study away. In your 4 years at Oberlin, every student will take 3 winter terms, a minimum of. And last winter term, I went home and I wrote a piece of music for one of the composition professors here. And so I was constantly emailing him, and that was a really great experience for me to sort of meld, mix, blend my home and Oberlin experiences and my creative and academic experiences all into one thing. And so that's been one of my favorite Oberlin experiences so far, even though it wasn't at Oberlin. It's because of Oberlin, so yeah, symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my favorite experiences was going to was a summer experience. So a summer is kind of our break that we get for 3 months in between the 2 semesters. And my first summer, actually, I went to Josh's hometown, which is Cape Town. And and I got a grant from Oberlin actually to do an internship in Cape Town, which was really really cool. And I got to check out. I mean, I didn't know Josh then. I wish I had already met him. He hadn't come to Oberlin by then, so I didn't get to see him obviously. But it was a really cool experience. I got to intern at a NGO that works with refugees in Cape Town, and I got to be part of the city, live independently for 3 months, and that was a really cool thing that I was able to do thanks to Oberlin. And we have another question. What do you wish you'd known as an applicant or first year? I think I wish I had known that I just needed to be myself. That when I was trying to write my essays, I was, thinking of how do I impress them? How do I make them think I'm
So
so
much,
amazing?
yes.
Yeah, but really, I just need. I actually got this advice from the person who was advising me at the U.S. Embassy in Zimbabwe, and she just told me, just be yourself. Just write about yourself. Write about your life. Even when you're writing your essay, it doesn't have to be about this, groundbreaking thing that happened. It can be about, just a moment in your life, which was what my essay was actually about. It was just about me going to the store and buying bread. And, at the time there was a huge economic crisis in Zimbabwe, and I just wrote about my experience of the difficulty I had just trying to buy bread for, morning tea. So it wasn't I didn't write about anything groundbreaking or exciting, but that was just me and my life.
Okay,
Yeah,
for me, for me, I wish I knew how the credit systems in Oberlin work better in my first year because, college is pretty different from high school. Teachers are not going to come work with you with all single math questions. So make sure that you know how the grades work. I struggled a little bit in my first math class in Oberlin because I skipped some homework questions, and that was the grade I got. I got 7 out of 21 for the homework, but that counted as like maybe 10% of my grade. So yeah, that was great. So make sure you know how it works. You should always go to office hours to meet your professors when they have time for you to discuss about all the questions you have in class. If you don't ask it in class, of course, like you're always welcome to ask questions in class. And professors are really helpful. Just that you make sure you go to them. Thank you.
Who's next?
You're next.
I'm next. Okay.
Yeah.
What do I wish I'd known as an applicant first year? I think probably very similar to Simba. The one of the great things I think about Oberlin is that no one expects you to become an Oberlin student. Everyone that's here is an Oberlin student in whatever way they choose to be, and that creates a really diverse and open and fun space for discussion and serious and not. So I think, yeah, coming in, especially as an international student, where you're coming from an entirely different cultural background, even if you think you may understand American culture, you won't, and that's okay. No one expects you to. So just sort of being okay with that and letting things, happen to you and sorting them out in the way that you would without having to think of what other people's expectations would be.
I'll go next. So I think for me, I wish I knew that how intensive college writing is, and I would probably be more prepared for those before I came to Oberlin, because um, college writing is just really, really different from um, the other kinds of writings that I have done personally, and also just in general, like as like a humanities major, I've struggled so much when I was a freshman, just kind of because like I also didn't go to like international school. I was in public school, like mainly using Chinese as the instructional language. Like everything I wrote was in Chinese. But like for my English part, then like it was mostly just essays, short essays, like not academic papers. So it was a huge kind of shock for me that like there's so many like requirements that you actually need to fulfill like when you write your college essays, and you have to be conscious about I guess your tone and the format, the like page size, the page like the font that you use, the like size of characters that you use, or like things that are actually like pretty strict. And like I think in some ways it totally makes sense, because the professors are going through probably like 30 papers at once, and it'll be easier for them if there's like a set format. And it's also like professional, like really comparative professional essays that you're writing. So I think for me, it was like a transition that I had to make, and kind of in order to like fit into this requirement. So I wish I knew better, so that I didn't need to like I didn't I wouldn't like be like shocked so much. Yeah, but I mean those kind of things you kind of learn from experience, from talking to professors, and usually they're pretty helpful. They will write whatever they prefer in syllabus, so you can actually check in with your professor, and like also check for the syllabus.
Cool. Am I the last one left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I wish I'd known as an applicant. I wish I'd known how much my relationship with my own culture and with my family would actually grow and deepen through coming here. I think the biggest point of concern for me in choosing to come to Oberlin was leaving my family. And I was choosing between Oberlin and several colleges in Japan, and which would have allowed me to stay at home. And so even more than choosing between school systems or what I could do, because I was extremely undecided coming in. It was more a question of, am I going to go off on my own, leave my family and not be around them for 4 years? Or am I going to stay with them, be able to spend a lot more time with them? And I wasn't sure if I was ready for all that. Yeah. But in the end, um, part of it was discovering Skype. Part of it was discovering that my grandparents could write letters to me, and I could write letters back to them. But more than that, being away from your family allows you to have time to sort of introspect, and see which parts of you are actually connected to your family, even if you're not necessarily in the same country, in the same space with them. Um, it's it's really interesting. I sometimes wonder what would have happened if I had stayed in Japan instead of um, gone come across here to across the sea and come to Oberlin. But um, from I've talked about this before, but from all the conversations that I've had with people here, with conversations that I have through Skype with my parents, and all the time that I've had to myself, I think that it was a really good decision, and I wish I had been more, um, that I had not felt so burdened with the choice at the time that I was applying and had to choose, because it's a really formative 4 years, but coming here was a good choice for me, I think, in the end, and I'm glad that I can say that now. I want to say that to me of 4 years ago, poor high school senior, having to choose. Yeah, that's about as much as I have for now. If any of you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. I think for me, my final thought would be, if you're thinking about studying in the U.S. or undergoing the liberal arts education, it's more than just going to school and getting a degree. It's really about something about transforming yourself, right? And so, in order for that to happen, a great thing to do is to really keep an open mind. And one of the things that I learned in college was that in order for you to have new experiences, you really have to sort of let go of your inhibitions. So now, one of the things that I do now is, if there's something that in the past I would say I'm never going to do that, that's exactly the thing that I go out and do, and that just helps me to grow as a person and to come out of myself and to have new experiences. So college it's really about transformation as a person, and that's what I love about America and liberal arts. Yeah.
Yeah. You will be transformed whether you like it or not. And if the thought of transformation scares you as much as it did me, and it does still to a certain extent, don't worry, because humans are adaptable, for one, but also the transformation that you will go through here is most likely going to be a positive one.
Okay, can I talk? So my final thought would be that once you go to college, just be the person you want to be. You're now away from family. You don't have social expectations around you. So, like, if you want to be, just be the person you want to be. Career-wise and personality-wise, um, yeah, I'm so thankful that I'm in Oberlin and I'm an international student. I didn't really have to transform to be an American student. I I'm myself now, and I'm different from other people, but I appreciate other people being different from me too. So make sure you be yourself, love.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I'll go next. Final thought would be, I think I really encourage all the um, students, prospective students, when they come to college, stick to your passion. Um, I mean, there are definitely going to be sidetracks, things that come out of nowhere. But eventually, at least from my personal experience, you will always go back to what you're passionate about and what you are originally interested in. I think it just, things just magically happen sometimes. And, if you are dedicated into doing this, if you are really, in love with it, things will work out no matter what happens in between your goal and where you're at right now. But there's always kind of transitions that you need to make. But eventually you'll get to some point that you like it's probably like not the exact same thing as you thought it would be, but the experience itself is well.
I think my final thought would be I think there's a balance, and there are going to be things that you're not going to like, and there's going to be that 1 week of winter, or that 1 week when you're really homesick, or that 1 week where you just have too much work and you can't get it all done. Um, but at the end of the day, those are going to be the times that you learn the most, and I think they're going to be the times that you really look at yourself and see how far you're coming, and I don't know, get more excited about the future. I think Oberlin's really good at making you excited for the future.
Oh, come back. Okay. Hopefully I'm unmuted. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you ended on that future note because I've just been thinking about my future for the last week really seriously and feeling simultaneously very freaked out about it and also really, really excited because I know that I'm prepared to deal with whatever it is. So thank you for that final thought. Thank you all of you for your thoughts and your talking and all of your different experiences you've been having here over the last year to 4 years. It's fantastic. We are now done with today's chat. Thank you so much, all of the panelists. You are all so fantastic. We will be back on October 29th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern to talk generally about what life is like as a student at Oberlin. If you're an international student and you missed this one, we will still be able to answer all your questions. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you sometime soon.